Stairs are a means of moving from one level to another. They need to be safe and comfortable. The Building Code of Australia, Volume 2, for residential dwellings, sets out acceptable stair construction practices in detail. Because it is often updated, it's important to check for any recent amendments to the code. A stair is made up of a series of individual steps. The board forming the horizontal surface of the step is known as a tread. When a vertical board supports the tread, it is called a riser. If the step has no riser board, the stairs are said to be open risers. Each step is made up of two measurements. The horizontal distance is called the going. For setting out purposes, the going measurement is taken from the back of the tread to the vertical face of the riser board. The rise is the vertical distance from the surface of one tread to the surface of the next. These two measurements are critical in the design and setting out of stairs. The distance from the point of intersection of the rise and the going to the edge of the string is called the margin. The amount a tread overhangs the one below is called the nosing and is usually rounded. Sometimes a small scotia moulding is fitted between the tread and the riser. In earlier times this was grooved into the tread. Glue blocks are used to increase the strength of the joint between the tread and the riser. When steps are combined into continuous groups, they form flights. The Building Code of Australia states that a flight must contain not less than 2 risers, nor more than 18 risers. There will always be one less going than the total number of risers. The missing going is actually the landing or floor where the stair finishes. The total horizontal distance covered by the flight is known as the going of the flight. The total vertical distance of the flight is called the rise of the flight. Inclined boards running from the top to the bottom of each flight support the treads. These boards are known as string boards, stair strings, or more commonly, stringers or simply strings. A wall string has its outer surface fixed to a wall. A closed string, sometimes called a housed string, has parallel top and bottom edges. An open string, sometimes called a cut string, has its top edge cut to follow the contours of the treads and risers. In an open string stair, the wall string is usually a closed string. Decorative brackets are often added as a design feature. If extra support is required, a rough string may be added to the cut string. For even more support, a carriage, sometimes called a rough carriage, can also be added. Brackets fixed to the sides support the treads. If a string uses a curve to change direction, it is called a geometrical string. Also called wreathed strings, these can be quite complex. The post at each end of a flight is called a newel. Newels are used to support a handrail and string and can be extended to carry the weight of a stair to the lower floor. They can be quite ornate and are often used as an architectural feature. A handrail is fixed parallel to and above the string. It acts as a guardrail and gives assistance to those using the stairs. The upright members between the handrail and the string are called balusters. The combined framework of newels, handrail and balusters forms the balustrade. The code states that if the height of a floor or landing is less than 1 metre, no balustrade is required. Over 1 metre, a barrier is needed and certain height requirements must be met. On a horizontal surface, the height is to be not less than 1 metre. On a stair, the vertical height must be not less than 865 millimetres. This is measured vertically from the line of nosings of the treads. To accommodate this difference in heights, a transition zone is allowed. The stair balustrade continues through until it meets the height of the landing balustrade. Openings in balustrades must not permit a 125mm diameter sphere to pass through. For stairs, the space is tested above the nosing line. On open riser stairs, a 125mm sphere must not pass between the treads. For safety, minimum overhead clearance is 2 metres, measured from the nosing of the tread. Where framing is used to fill in below a stair, it is known as a spandrel. While climbing stairs, undue fatigue can be avoided with the use of landings between flights. Landings also serve to change the direction of stairs. A quarter-spaced landing changes the direction of a stair through 90 degrees. A half-spaced landing changes direction through 180 degrees. Although not classed as a landing, tapered treads known as winders can also be used to change direction. A group of no more than 3 winders can be used in place of a quarter-spaced landing, or a maximum of 6 in place of a half-spaced landing. Winders can also be used in combination with a landing. The individual winders take their names from their shapes. The square winder has a right-angled front corner. The kite winder is the centre tread. And the skew winder has an angled front corner. Because winders join 2 separate flights into one flight, the total number of risers, as per the code, cannot exceed 18. The entire structure, steps, strings, spandrel, landings and balustrade, is referred to as a staircase. The terms used to classify stairs are derived from their methods of construction. The straight flight does not change direction throughout its length. Dog-legged stairs have the string of the upper flight directly above the string of the lower flight and share a common newel post. Open-newelled stairs are built around an open well. They have newels placed at each change of direction. Geometrical stairs have strings and handrails that are continuous over the entire rise and change direction without the use of newels. As well as being defined by their construction methods, stairs can be further described by the types of strings, the number of turns, the types of landings, and the use of winders. A description of this staircase would be an open-newelled closed string stair with 2 quarter-turn side flights. On a renovation job, Accurately measuring for a staircase requires several procedures to be followed. Over the years, settling may have caused floors to become out of level. The amount of error, if any, needs to be known for later calculations. With no opening prepared for the stairs at this stage, the height measurement is taken to the underside of the upstairs floor joist, and the depth of the flooring and joist is added. The rise and going of the flight can now be determined. The floor-to-floor height has been established. On this job, the stairs will rest on the low part of the floor. Therefore, the floor level error will need to be added to the floor-to-floor height. This gives the total rise of the flight. The rise of the flight on this job is 2595 millimetres. An average rise of 170 millimetres is comfortable and falls within the range specified in the code. An approximate number of rises is found by dividing 2595 by 170. The resulting 15.26 indicates 15 rises should be tried. The actual rise of each step is found by dividing the rise of the flight by the number of rises being tried. 2595 divided by 15 gives an actual step rise of 173 millimetres. The code stipulates a maximum step rise of 190 and a minimum of 115. This makes 173 millimetres acceptable. Calculation of the going involves using a slope relationship formula. This states that 2 rises plus 1 going must produce a figure falling between a minimum of 550 and a maximum of 700 millimetres. The average, 625 millimetres, is convenient to use in the formula. The established rise of 173 millimetres is placed in the formula. The going is calculated by subtraction. This produces a going of the step of 279 millimetres. A rise of 173 and a going of 279 millimetres has been established for the steps in this flight. As there is always one less going than the number of rises, 15 rises results in 14 goings. Therefore, the going of the flight is 14 times 279 millimetres. This is a going of 3906 millimetres. Before the going of the flight can be confirmed on the job, another check must be made. Existing construction may not be true. Therefore, the point at which the flight meets the upper floor is plumbed to the lower floor. The going of the flight can now be measured from this point. Practical on-site limitations may require the going of the flight to be adjusted. The slope relationship formula allows a range of possible rise and going combinations. Choosing the best combination results in a suitable going of the flight to fit the particular job. If a straight flight is unsuitable, other configurations can be adapted to provide a solution. On a new construction site, measuring for stairs is usually more straightforward. The position for stairs will have been allocated in the design. However, the usual checks for level floors and plumb walls still need to be made. Measurements between walls must allow for the thickness of wall linings. Height measurements are floor to floor, but checks should be made for variation in floor covering thicknesses. Once manufactured, a staircase cannot be modified to fit. Producing quality joinery relies on a combination of care and skill. Careful on-site measuring will ensure an accurate fit. Dedication and skill in construction lead to works of excellence.